everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today on this fantastic Thursday. See a few people joining, but I'm going to get started. I like to be right on time as I know everybody is busy these days. So thank you so much for joining me as I kind of briefly take you on a path around virtual faxing and how faxing is still relevant today. Businesses are still heavily relying on faxing, believe it or not. If you're with us today, I assume that you're still using faxing and are curious about potentially transitioning from using a physical fax machine or wanting the best of both worlds of virtual faxing and physical faxing. So that's what we're going to talk about. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Bree. I head up the marketing team here at ClearlyIP. Joining me a little later on is Tony Lewis, our CEO. He's going to team up with me and conduct a live demo after my presentation and answer any questions you might have. Right now, I have everyone muted, but feel free to post any questions at any time throughout the webinar in our control panel. We're also recording this webinar, so we will do a recording of it, and that gets posted in our social media and YouTube and on our events page. So you can definitely access it in the future if you need to. I anticipate today's webinar is going to take somewhere around 30 to 45 minutes. That's including the live demo and the Q&A. So let's jump in. So my goal today is that by the end of our webinar that you're going to be able to answer 3 questions. Why is faxing still relevant today? A little bit about the history, who's still using it and why, and how exactly does virtual faxing work? What are the pros and cons? So let's get started. For those of you not familiar with ClearlyIP, I'll give you a brief introduction to kick things off. And we are a team of telecom experts, telecommunication specialists. We've got around 300 years of combined experience building some of the large telecom applications in the world. I've been in the industry now really since I was around 5 years old. My father founded a telecom company, so I've been in the industry as long as I can remember. And I'm just so grateful to team up with ClearlyIP. And one of the cool things about Clearly is their experience and association with the free PBX open source community. We have offices located globally. We've got an office in Wisconsin and Montreal, staff all over the world, and we really are a team of telecom experts. We are leaders in selling, developing, and pioneering new technologies to the business telecom marketplace. And we do so by supporting our partner channel and solutions for small, medium businesses and even enterprise global companies that are really looking to take advantage of unified communication. So as always, I refer to us as a group of phone nerds. I'm just really excited about really future possibilities in telecom and how we can bring them to your business. So faxing often feels like it's been around forever. You know, people often ask me, are companies still using fax? You know, we've really migrated to email. Well, the answer is yes. So I'd love to share some fun history around faxing. Did you know that the first modern fax machine that we would all recognize was actually made in 1964 by Xerox Corporation? And however, faxing technology has actually been around a lot longer. Way before 1964, the technology was actually developed in 1843, believe it or not. So in 1843, the technology that we all still use for faxing is really based on that original invention. And that means that fax technology being used today is really not that much different from 177 years ago. In 1924, the first transcontinental fax was sent. It was actually a photo of a Calvin Coolidge sent from New York to London. And then that same year, the first color photo was faxed. Just for reference, in 1920, only 1% of homes in the US had electricity or indoor plumbing. So that's some perspective for you. In the 1960s, the United States Army transmitted the first photograph via satellite facsimile to Puerto Rico from the Deal test site using the Courier satellite. Radio fax is still in limited use today. It's used for transmitting weather charts and information to ships at sea, which is pretty cool. In 1964, the Xerox Corporation introduced and patented what many consider to be the first commercialized version of the modern fax machine under the name LDX. And then in 1985, a Hank Magnuski, founder of Gamma Link, produced the first computer fax board called the Gamma Fax. So those boards could provide voice telephony via an analog expansion bus. So why is it still in use today? Believe it or not, fax still has a massive user base in the business world. It acts as a network effect. Many businesses still use fax, so businesses feel the need to use it to still communicate. There are a ton of reasons if you were to ask businesses that are still using fax why they're still, relying on it so heavily. Some of those reasons could be network effect. It can work with the internet. It can be isolated from the internet. They might rely on confirmation pages, so proof of message receipt. That's typically the most important reason. Or legal familiarity. It can be quicker for some users over email or mail. Really? I'm sure you're scratching your head, but yes, it can be. Paper is an often open-ended format, easy interface between companies. Japanese, Chinese, and Korean characters are often written. Easy way to send signatures is less anonymous than email. It can be faster than letter mail, open-ended addressing. There are so many benefits still for utilizing fax. In the healthcare, legal, logistics, and government sectors, they're very much frequent users of fax today. In legal and financial documents that require a signature, these are terms called a wet signature and also a dry signature. So a wet signature is the original signature, so called, because it was once, albeit briefly, wet from ink on the document. A dry signature is a copy or a faxed version of a wet signature. So the question here is, do dry and wet signatures carry the same legal weight? Usually yes, but the law can still vary from state to state. Typically, lenders, medical, and law offices are impacted the most. And the other reason is people are reluctant to change. If it works, and I've been doing it this way for a long time, is it worth the hassle to change? Well, sorry, but in most cases, the answer is most definitely yes. So that's what I'm going to explain today. So, since important and vital fax communications are still relevant today, why would you want to limit your operations of standing in your office, standing at a physical fax machine every time you need to send a fax? This is where e-faxing or virtual faxing comes in. It really does enable the ease of sending and receiving faxes supported by several devices. And you can send a fax in your car, with your mobile device, or from your laptop if you're on the road, or a tablet, really any device. So you can now fax anywhere, anytime you have an internet connection. So if you have remote workers and you're in the sector or a business that relies on faxing, your people can still send faxes even if they're not in your office standing at a physical fax machine. Another really great thing to think about when moving to eFax or virtual faxing is ROI. So what kind of return on investment does switching to electronic faxing hold? Let's go over some of those items. No more costs for new fax machines or maintenance. So if it breaks, does it have to be fixed or replaced? Expensive printer cartridges, cost for a dedicated phone line for your physical fax machine. Let's talk about additional long distance charges. If you're sending international faxes or long distance faxes, you're going to be paying for that. It can be a bottleneck. You often can only send or receive one fax at a time. So if an additional fax is being sent to the same recipient, you're going to get a busy tone. Redundancy. It's just one more specialized item to buy toner for. It's ecological. Electronic faxing reduces energy use, and you only print the documents that you need. And the biggest, most important, in my opinion, is time and efficiency. Using a physical fax, there's always going to be a bottleneck when you're waiting to send multiple faxes to multiple recipients. Plus, paper jams happen. They don't need to. Individually, each of these reasons make sense. So when you put a couple of those reasons together, then the choice is pretty clear. And let's not forget, this is important. It's a machine physical machine that uses energy even when it's in standby mode, which can be a furnace in the summertime, adding cost to cool that room down. So these are important factors to keep in mind on physical fax machines, but don't be alarmed if you still want to hang on to your physical fax and maybe have the best of both worlds and do virtual faxing. I'm going to go into that and how we can meet those needs too. So the examples I'm going to give today are going to be based on our fax platform. Our fax platform is called SendFax.to, and Tony is actually going to be doing his live demo using our platform so that you can see real time how to set this up and how easy it is to use. There are other e-faxing services available, but we're going to use ours to illustrate the basic principles. Some of the benefits of e-faxing, again, you have the option to remove your physical fax machine, but still send and receive really easily. And it supports inbound fax to email. You can define up to 2 email addresses that will be sent the inbound fax on a per DID, direct inward dial basis. It supports outbound email to fax. So it allows you to send an email to a fax line. So you take outbound emails, you send it in the to field, you put the fax number at SendFax.to, and it converts to a fax and sends to that fax number. Another benefit of our platform is we do support rebrandable email alerts, and even the SendFax.to domain can be customized for our partners or enterprise customers. Plus, with our SendFax.to platform, there is no eFax portal. This is really important. It relies 100% on email for faxing. Fax CDRs will show you all your sent and received faxes in the store. We're going to show you that. And you can have the ability to set a password that all fax PDFs are encrypted at a per group level. So if you're looking for that type of security encryption, we can do that for you. So if you're thinking to yourself, oh my gosh, this sounds so complicated, I promise you it isn't. Actually, sending a physical fax and standing at a machine is more challenging than virtual faxing. So in a few minutes, Tony's going to walk you through that, but I'll talk you through it now. So let's start with inbound faxing, fax to email. So our SendFax.to online portal will easily configure inbound email delivery from any fax-enabled T.38 numbers available in most North America regions. Inbound faxes can be delivered up to 2 email addresses. So for example, you could send to your receptionist or even a specific department person to manage and distribute your inbound faxes. And for outbound faxing, you can enable and manage specific email addresses or domains to send faxes using our SendFax.to service. So each fax capable DID on your account can be associated with up to 100 authorized email addresses or email domains. So each address can be authorized to send for multiple fax DIDs. So this is usually a big need for our enterprise customers still using faxing. So when you're sending a fax by email, users can easily specify which fax number to use as their sending address, their sending fax number. Suppose users are authorized to use multiple fax numbers. Let's say you have a fax number for your service department, or you have a fax number for your HR department, or for your sales. They can choose which department to send faxes from. So in that case, our system is going to let them to choose which number, and they'll send that message, and then immediately we'll follow up with an email enabling them to select the proper account to send from. So confirmations, it can be a misconception that you do not get the same secure fax confirmations that a transmission has been successful. This is totally taken care of, especially on our platform. Once your message has been sent, you will actually receive a confirmation email. You can also store those securely, and you can organize them however you'd like. We can work with you on that. If you have multiple numbers associated with your fax, you will be prompted to select one for a confirmation to be sent to. So I like to hit on this because it's really important. Many businesses that are still utilizing faxing have multiple fax numbers. And so this is a great solution. This message will pop up for your users, and then they will be prompted to select which one they want a confirmation to be sent to, which is great. Okay. Also, because it's email based, it can be customized through an API. So we do offer our partners and resellers and our enterprise customers this API solution. So you can be notified via a web callback on inbound and outbound faxes. So the Clearly Fax service offers an API which allows you to send faxes and receive information about a particular fax. You may also receive inbound fax information via the use of the callback URL, which can be configured by contacting our customer care department. So for those of you looking for something customizable or that API, we can definitely support you there. Now, again, you do not need to get rid of your physical fax machines or your multifunction printer fax copiers. Those are still an important tool. You can actually have the best of both worlds, but here's the cool thing. You can still fax without a traditional phone line. So if you have an internet connection, then you can fax to and from it. So we have a really slick fax device. We refer to it as our SendFax.to device. So it allows you to store your faxes, connect a physical fax machine, and send and receive with secure and reliable technology using that device. So you can really enjoy both physical and virtual faxing by subscribing to our SendFax.to platform and potentially adding that SendFax device. It supports the connectivity of up to 2 physical fax machines or really any hardware of your choice to enjoy the flexibility of analog faxing without the expense of a dedicated line. So there's some ROI for you as well. You can reduce your overhead of any dedicated phone lines to support your faxing. Let's talk pricing. So this is all in US MSRP pricing here for you. So we've got a couple of options. We've got a low volume package. It's $9.99 per month. That's going to include approximately 300 minutes of faxing or around 400 to 450 pages a month. And we offer a per minute charge of 0.025 cents per minute after the 300 minutes are used. If you do a considerable amount more of faxing, you might want to move to our high volume. It's $24.99 per month. It includes 2,000 minutes or approximately 3,000 to 3,500 pages a month of faxing. Same thing on per minute charge of 0.025 cents per minute after the 2,000 minutes are used. If you're looking for DIDs or phone numbers for your faxing, MSRP is $1 per month per DID for US or Canada numbers. Inbound and outbound email groups are free, included, no cost. And our fax platform offers no contracts. It's all month to month, and we do offer discounts for large volume enterprise customers and partners. So there you have it. I hope that answered your questions about the benefits and pros. I'm going to hand things over to Tony now, and he's going to show us all how this works using our platform. Hi, Tony. How are you today?
There we go. Hey, Bree, I'm doing pretty good. Yourself?
Awesome. I'm doing great. Welcome.
Thank you. Give me 1 second here. My computer's acting up this morning. It was fine all morning, but now this afternoon it doesn't want to play nice.
Yes, it's always how it is.
It seems like it. So give me 1 second.
No problem.
There we go, I think.
Take your time. I'm just managing some of the questions to get them organized for when
No
we're
problem.
done the live demo. Thanks everyone for all your questions. We'll definitely get to them after we get the live demo going.
Okay, we got it. Okay, everyone should be able to see my screen at this point. So adding our fax service is really simple. It gets added, it can be added to any SIP trunk location or any Clearly Cloud location. If you're looking just to get fax from us and you're not doing SIP trunking or Clearly Cloud with us, it's no big deal. You can create a SIP trunking location. It doesn't cost anything. You don't have to use us for the SIP trunking itself, the phone calling. And once you create that location, you just will go into it and enable faxing, which is what we're going to kind of walk through how to do that here. So I've got a cloud location we're going to use to show how easy it is to set up faxing on. So this partner demo I'm going to go view that location inside of our portal. And once I'm inside our portal, there's a fax section right here, fax services. And from here, it says I don't have any faxing set up. No big deal. I'm just going to hit the pencil icon. And I want to change my plan or quantity. And from here, we can pick between a low and high volume. So our low volume, as Bree talked about, is 300 minutes of faxing a month. Our high volume is 2,000 minutes. And then once you have either a low or high volume, you can enable bursting, where if you use up all those minutes, you can pay per minute to continue faxing. So my example, we're going to pick low volume. And then normally you'd see a price, but my demo system's all free, so you won't see it. You'll pick how many of those you want. So if you want more than one of those call paths that include 300 minutes bundled together, you can buy multiples of those too. We'll hit next. Normally you'd see your payment information here. Again, my test account doesn't show it. Agree to the terms of service and complete the checkout process. So at this point, it's enabled fax on your location, and you bought a high or low volume call path for faxing. And we'll see we have one North America low volume faxing. And from here, we could add additional call paths. So if we wanted to make that 2 instead of 1, we could do it. Or we can add that metered, where you can pay per minute when you use up those 300 minutes. So adjust metered services. How many call paths of faxing meter do you want, where you're going to pay per minute? This is how many simultaneous faxes you'd want to process at a time. So maybe we'll say 5, or maybe it's just 1. Like if you only have 1 fax machine, doesn't matter to us. And then you set your monthly limit you want to limit yourself to. So we won't go over $500 a month of metered faxing. We'll hit save. And now we've enabled that. Well, I'll actually hit save. And now we see we have that 1 low volume. We have the 5 metered with a $500 a month limit. Now, if we scroll back up here at the top, we'll actually see real time. Those 300 minutes, we've used 0 of it. So this will show us as we're using those minutes, and we've used $0 of the $500 metered. You can see our balances here at any time. And over here in our metered pricing, you can even see what the metered faxing rate is. So inbound to a local number is 2 cents a minute. Outbound is 2 cents a minute. Toll-free inbound is 2.6 cents a minute for faxing. So now that we have fax service set up, now all we have to do is start creating our fax groupings, our routing of faxes. So the first thing we'll do is we'll create a new inbound group here. We'll call this test and a description. And then we can have some options here. We can say we want to send the fax to the primary email, which is down here. So I could put tlewis@clearlyip.com. Or I could say the secondary, so whatever you put for your secondary, or both primary and secondary. Or, for example, if you bought one of our fax appliances, you could send it to the appliance, which I don't have one here. You'd pick the appliance and what port you want to send it to. Or you could say, I want to send it to my appliance and my primary email, or my appliance and my primary and secondary email. So you get some logic here of where you want to route that fax to. When you're using email, attach the fax as a PDF to the email. That's enabled. You can also have it include a download link. So if you don't want to attach the PDF, you can include a download link. And optionally, you can have the PDF encrypted. So for those that are in Hipaa compliant for medical in the US, we can encrypt the PDF with whatever password you tell us here. And when you go to open that PDF, you'll have to enter this password that you typed here. So we're going to go ahead and hit add to list and save this. So we can create more inbound groups now if we wanted to, or just hit save on the one we just did. And now we'll see we have this list here for inbound faxing. And same logic happens for outbound. We just add a new group, call it test. Your station ID is the text or phone number that shows at the top of every page that a fax machine is supposed to print on every page. So I could say ClearlyIP, and then my fax number if I wanted to. You're up to 21 characters is what you're allowed under the fax standard. And then what emails are allowed to send outbound faxes? So I can do tlewis@ClearlyIP and add that. Or I could be really smart and say at ClearlyIP.com, and that will cover every user who's at ClearlyIP.com. But we are smart. If you try to do something like at Gmail, it's not going to let you because that's a common domain. So you can add up to 100 emails or domains per outbound group. And once you've created your group, you save it. Wow, I didn't hit save. So I've got one set up we're going to actually go use. So we're going to skip this, actually send the outbound. And then fax devices. If you want to buy any of our devices that let you just plug in a fax machine and you just plug it into your network and it will sync up with us and let you inbound, outbound fax, you just add a new fax device here, give it a name, what email address we're going to send notifications if that device ever goes offline, what area code to prepend. This is just handy in case you're dialing phone numbers from your fax machine a 7-digit. Nowadays, everything has to be 10-digit. So you can tell us to automatically add an area code if you dial a 7-digit number. And then for the 2 ports, it supports 2 ports on the little appliance, so you can plug up to 2 fax machines in. For each of those, we got to know what DID or phone number it's associated to for billing purposes. So we know what location and what trunking group to bill it to. So you just pick, and it can be the same phone number for both ports, doesn't matter. And then you hit save, and then it's going to have you go through checkout and make that purchase. So we're going to run to a location I have set up here. Somewhere I have a bunch of test ones. Here we go. And you'll see in here, I've got an outbound group already set up, and I've got an inbound group already set up. And then we actually have one of our phone numbers already routing to this. So if we go back up to phone numbers, most of these are routing to the location. They're voice numbers, so they're routing as a SIP trunk. But this phone number up here is routing to the fax server. So you can take any phone number you buy with us, hit the little binoculars, and under the routing option, just hit the edit. And instead of it routing to the actual location for voice, you just pick fax service and pick an inbound group and pick an outbound group that links to this phone number and save it. And now you've linked that phone number. So when we get an inbound fax on that phone number, we'll send it to this group. And when we go to send an outbound fax, if our email is part of this group, it knows that we can use this DID for faxing. So we'll actually go do another DID instead of just looking at the one I had set up already. So we're going to take this number. Oh, that's a sublocation, not a phone number. Sorry about that. We're going to take this phone number. We're going to go edit it. Under routing options, we're going to pick fax, inbound group, outbound group. So now that outbound group actually belongs to 2 different phone numbers. So if I go to send an outbound fax, it's not going to know which number I'm trying to send out as because my email now is associated with more than one phone number. So I've got a little Gmail, fake Gmail, I think it's ClearlyIP sales at Gmail or something we call it. And I'm going to come in here and I'm going to send a fax. And we want to send it to, we'll just pick this number. We'll send it to ourselves to make it easy. So to send an outbound fax is really simple. You just type in the phone number, 10 or 11 digits, at SendFax.to. Provide a subject if you want. So you can provide a subject and body. If you do, we'll use that as a cover page. If you don't, we won't include anything in here. If you actually want to include a cover page in your fax, just attach it and call the document itself cover page or cover space page. And if you include a document called cover page, we will use that automatically as your cover page, and your other attachments will be part of the normal fax body. If you provide information as a subject and body here, that will be used as your cover page. So I can send this fax. I'm going to attach a PDF to it and hit send. So since my email belongs to a single outbound email group, but that outbound email group is linked to 2 different phone numbers, it doesn't know what number to send this fax as. And I didn't tell it what number to use. So what happens is our system detects, oh, that email belongs to more than one phone number for outbound faxing. So as soon as it gets this email, it sends you back an inbound email. Hey, a quick question before we can send your fax. And it says, you sent an email to, which is the subject test, but we can't figure out what caller you need to send from. You need to tell us by clicking this link. So if we click that link, it lists the 2 numbers we have access to, and we just pick which number we want. We just click on it, hit send it, and now that fax is being sent from that phone number. So the other thing we could do, oh, I can show you, then you get a little confirmation. The other thing is it does inform you, hey, in the future, if you want to send a fax from a certain phone number, you pick, here you pick what number you're going to send it to, just like we did, the phone number at, but before the SendFax.to, provide what the DID is, or the phone number that you're sending from, and we'll automatically know to use that. We won't prompt you. Now, if your phone number, if your email address only belongs to a single DID for faxing, we'll never prompt you. We just use it automatically when you send a fax. We only prompt you if if your email belongs to more than one phone number to send faxes outbound as. So from here, that's going to go process the fax and send it out, and then we're going to get a confirmation. There he goes. It was sent successful. So I'm the sender, so it emailed me. Your fax to this phone number has completed 3 pages. It took 37 seconds, and it transferred at a baud rate of 14.4. And what number it faxed from and where you faxed to. And now you'll see the inbound fax hit me because I used the same email. There's my inbound notice. And this is what I get when I get a new inbound fax. Hey, T. Lewis at Clearly, and because I had 2 different emails in here, so it emailed both of these users, you've received a fax. Some details about the fax, and then the attachment. And there's our fax. So really simple and quick to use. At this point, Bree, I think we'll open up. Oh, the only other thing was CDRs, fax CDRs. So from our portal, we can go to our normal view CDRs, and then we can click on fax CDRs. And here we go. We can see this is the email to fax. So this is the outbound. We did email to a fax number. What number it's sent from, what it's sent to. Normally they'd be different, right? You're not faxing to yourself. What location it was under, and the state of it. It's been completed, and we can see a full log of that fax, everything it did. And then here's the inbound side, because we sent outbound and inbound to the same number. We see it twice. There's the actual inbound fax, the state it's completed, and the log on the inbound lag. Incoming call detected, inbound fax to this phone number was successful, and who we emailed it to. So a nice little log of everything that's happened per fax. So we will open this up for Q&A. Let me read some questions we have here. So if we have 10 fax machines, do we need a device per physical machine? That depends. So if you want to be able to send from all 10 fax machines, you're going to need probably 5 devices, because each device allows for 2 ports. Technically, you could connect multiple fax machines to one port, but only one fax machine can send at a time. So if you're trying to send from all 10 at a time, yes, you'd need 5 physical devices with 2 ports on each device for 10 ports worth. If you're not, just like in the analog line, if you had an analog phone line, you could connect that to multiple fax machines, but only one fax machine could send at a time. How many concurrent calls on the high volume? So it's 1, but you can add additional, those metered call paths. And as long as you haven't used up the 3,000 minutes yet, you're not going to get billed, or the 2,000 minutes, because it's bundling minutes in. How does the fax device send fax if it doesn't have a physical phone line? So that's where our appliances we talked about comes in, the little device we sell that you just plug into your network. You don't have to open up any ports or do anything fancy. There's no configuration on it. It's all pre-configured, and it phones home and gets all of its configurations from us and keeps it up to date. It's completely unmanaged, or completely managed by us. You don't have to do anything with it, and you just literally plug your fax machines into it. Are we HIPAA compliant? So yes, so let's talk about how we're HIPAA compliant. If you're using our little fax devices to plug a fax machine into, you're 100% compliant with the device, because everything on that device is encrypted at rest. So the whole operating system, the whole SD card in that device is fully encrypted. So that device itself is fully encrypted. That device talks to us across encrypted APIs, SSL or HTTPS connections, which are fully encrypted. and then everything within our cloud system is encrypted. So from a HIPAA compliance, you are compliant because of the encryption we have on everything. Now, if you're doing email to fax, email itself is HIPAA compliant. Where HIPAA can become a problem for email to fax is that attachment, that PDF. If somebody intercepted that, they could see the PDF. So with our little tweak we have where you can set an encryption password and we'll encrypt the PDF, even your inbound fax to email can be HIPAA compliant because you can set a password that is being used to unlock the PDF when you try to view it from your email. How do we move our current fax numbers from AT&T? So you go set up service with us, get a location, and add your pass, and sales can help you. You don't have to do it on your own. We're more than happy to help you get the location created. Once the location's up, you would submit number porting to us, which is really simple. We just go to porting, submit porting request, and fill in this information we need. It's not very long. It's a pretty short form, and submit it, and then our team takes over and gets those numbers ported for you. Can you have multiple fax numbers assigned to a fax plan? Yes. So in my example, if you look, my location, remember I had 2 numbers, but I only had 1 call pass. So phone numbers have nothing to do with fax call pass. You could have 1 call pass and 100 phone numbers, or you could have 1 phone number and 100 simultaneous fax call pass. Doesn't matter. Yes, so the bundling minutes are used before you do bursting. So those minutes get used up first. On the low volume, the 300 minutes. On the high volume, the 2,000 minutes. Those get used first. Okay, that seems to be it, Bree.
Great questions, everyone. Thank you for being so engaged. All right, Tony. Well, that sums it up for today, and we're right on time, which is great. Next event, everybody, is on October 6th. It will be on our SIP trunking, where we educate you on everything you need to know about SIP trunking. And actually, we're referring to our next event as SIP Trunking 201, as it's going to be packed with information. A lot of items that everyone's talking about right now with Stir Shaken and various stuff surrounding that. So definitely check out our events page. You'll see that's the next webinar. Hope to see you there, and wishing you all a great day and rest of your week. Thank you so much, Tony.
Thank you.
Okay, have a good one.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.